Get up time for a little more or less. Looking at some of the games in Week 14. RC, more or less. Joe Burrow, 2.5 touchdown passes against Cleveland.
You know what? I think he's going to have less. And now Joe Burrow's going absolutely crazy right now. He's as dialed in as we've ever seen him. But he always seems to struggle with the Cleveland Browns. This is a team that's beaten him numerous times. Consistent pressure on him. And on the outside, Newsome and Denzel Ward have found ways to play well against the skill set and skilled players of the Bengals. So I'm going less for Joe Burrow.
Yeah, he is winless against the Browns. All right, Brooke, more or less Justin Jefferson, 93.5 receiving yards against those Lions.
Oh, give me more here because, look, Justin Jefferson did not have a great outing against the Jets in that secondary. Only 45 yards? But I think this is going to be a shootout between these two teams. Neither one of them are great at stopping the pass. I think this is going to be a big game for Justin Jefferson.
Nico, more or less, Tua sacked 2 times against the Chargers.
I think he's going to be sacked less. I think McDaniels understands that he's got to protect Tua. He's got to make sure he gets the ball out of his hands quickly. So I'm going to go with less. He might get sacked once, but I'm not saying more than 2. So I'm going with less on this one. It's not going to be a repeat of the 49ers game.
Okay, I want you to take a look at something because last week Tua had his worst game of the season despite only facing 6 pressures from that Niners defense. You know, this year Tua is 3-2 when defenses pressure him 6 times or less in a game. And when defenses bring the heat and pressure him more than 6 times, Tua shines. He's thrown for over 100 more yards a game with double the amount of touchdowns. All right, so with that in mind, any concerns at all, especially after last week's performance against those Niners? Does he bounce back this week against the Chargers? What do you think, RC?
Heck yeah, man. Listen, hey, man. Tua is going to bounce back like Weezy said. He's going to come back like 23. When you look at what he was facing last week, Tua Tagovailoa understood the gravity of the moment. He knew that everyone would be looking at that San Francisco 49ers game as a litmus test of who he was. And he was off a little bit. He wasn't great. 49ers played really well on defense, but no team in the entire NFL plays as much man-to-man defense as the Los Angeles Chargers, and no quarterback absolutely destroys it better than Tua Tagovailoa. This is going to be his game where his connection with Jalen Waddle is back, Tyreek Hill. And I think we're going to see Mike McDaniel use his powers of empowerment to make sure that Tua Tagovailoa is ready, to know that Tua Tagovailoa doesn't have to take all the accountability for his performances last week. And I believe this offense goes absolutely nuts against the Chargers on the road.
Okay, so he says he bounces back. Let's take a look at everybody's game pick here. And Lil Nink, you got the Chargers, so you don't see it as a bounce back.
That might be like a Big Sean bounce back. You remember that?
I love it.
So, you know, I think that they are not home, so they've been away. I've done that trip where you stay away and you're practicing in different facilities, and sometimes that energy, you can kind of be flat when you come out in these games, especially last week taking the loss. So again, I think that might catch up to him, traveling, being on the road, living in a hotel for a week, preparing in a hotel. That could possibly mess you up in your preparation. So I think the Chargers also, too, they're trying to fight and scratch and claw to get back into this thing. So I think they're going to be motivated to try and do their best. So that's why I think they get them. I think they take them.
Brooke, based on your pick, you disagree?
Yes, and I wish that I had Weezy or Big Sean lyrics, but I'm fresh out of bounce back lyrics here.
I'm about to bounce back.
But I will say,
hey,
look,
Junior
I know
bounce
that
back too now.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Look, I know that Nico said that they could come out and look flat, but also they're playing in SoFi. I realize that's the home of the Chargers, but is it really home of either LA team? That gets taken over in road games by the opposing fans so often. I think this is going to be a big game for Tua. I think that last week was an anomaly. I think that he is better than that showed. I think he was just off. Guys have off weeks, but this is to me, the biggest part of adversity that he has faced this season. I think that he can come out, he's going to ball out, he's motivated, he's had no distractions. I understand that, like, you're uncomfortable, you're in a hotel. It's also kind of like a training camp situation, right? Like, is there anywhere else that you'd rather be to be in a bubble, to get right, to reestablish that connection, to get back on the same page with everybody? I think that he's going to come out and have a really big game.
Certainly I have the motivation, considering a number of people felt like maybe the moment was too big for him last week. He wants to show, no, I'm still that guy. We'll see. All right, Jalen Hurts, really a plenty in Week 14. Eagles, they head to New York. They take on the Giants. Philly looking to keep its 2-game lead on Dallas, while New York just a half game up on that final wild card spot. And then you go upstate New York. Jets taking on the Bills. You know the Jets, 1 game up for that final AFC wild card spot, while Josh Allen looking for his 4th straight win. And then you got Brady and the Bucs. They head to San Fran looking to keep their momentum at 6-6. The Bucs with the win could get over 500 for the first time since week 5. And Brady realizes he's got a big opportunity.
Some games, would I rather win by 3 touchdowns? Absolutely. But if we're not going to win by 3 touchdowns, I mean, that's a great way to win a game because, you know, y'all remember that game for the rest of my life. Got to build on it. We got to get positive momentum. We got to get, you know, a lot of confidence and just keep building on it week after week.
All right, so you hear Tom Brady saying week after week, are the Bucs going to carry that momentum from that comeback win on Monday night? What do you think, RC?
Hell no. What momentum? That ain't momentum. That's, hey, we had lucky 2 drives, right? Like you throw the football down the field, you get the pass interference with Mike Evans. Honestly, that was a bad throw. Mike Evans had steps on the defender, and Poston Debo had to come back, catch up with him, and try to play the ball because Tom Brady underthrew it early on in that game. We're missing footballs down the field. The defense is beat up on the back end. And yes, if Tom Brady is in the game late, I will always bet on Tom Brady. Tom Brady is not going to be in this game late. You carry over consistency. You carry over things you've seen over time. When you go across the water and you play very well against the Seattle Seahawks and you play well for 4 quarters, you run the football. Those are the type of things you have an opportunity to carry over. When you have one of those games where you have to come back into the post-game press conference and say, you know what, that was effing awesome. You say that because you know you're not supposed to win. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers weren't supposed to be the depleted New Orleans Saints. They found a way late, but that does not carry over when you're playing a team like the San Francisco 49ers that are that sound, that good on defense, and that skilled offensively.
What do you think about, I heard you shake your head.
Yeah, 14 and a half sacks in 11 games. That's what Bosa's got. So the 49ers have a pass rush that is going to be licking their chops to go and get a statue that's in the backfield. That's Tom Brady. Tom's not moving great. And we know that Tom with pressure on him is not the best. So I think the 49ers and their defense is really going to take over in this game. And it's going to come down to the Bucs offensive line. Can they hold up? I doubt it.
Cindy, let's put up everybody's game picks here for this game.
Proud of you.
Thanks, RC. And what everybody's got here. So everybody's rolling with the Niners. If that's the case, Acho, let's go in a world. How do the Bucs beat the Niners?
They have to keep it close until the end and then let Tom Brady do what he's done 2 out of the last couple weeks, lead a game-winning drive. That's the only way. Defensively, the Niners are dominant. We've seen that. Tampa Bay can be consistently dominant. Defensively, Tampa Bay can slow down the 49ers. They can slow down Mr. Irrelevant. And so if you keep the game close towards the end, defense steps up, and then Tom Brady does what he did last week, what he did a couple weeks ago. He leads a game-winning drive. That's the only way that Tampa Bay can beat the 49ers.
Brooke, this is Brock Purdy and Tom Brady. How are we saying Brock Purdy advantage over Tom Brady?
Because I look at who Brock Purdy has around him. I mean, he's a self-driving car in this offense. They're in the Bay Area. He's in a Tesla in this offense here. I mean, you got Debo, you got George Kittle, you got Christian McCaffrey. He can't mess this up. But, I mean, I say that, knock on wood here, because the only way that the Bucs win is if they get the rookie to make rookie mistakes, to make the kind of mistakes that you would expect to see out of Mr. Irrelevant. And to Sam's point, then you let Tom Brady take over, but that has to be close late. You have to force him to make those mistakes early. The Bucs defense has to step up. That's how they win this game. And offensively, you play with tempo. Brady has to get the ball out of his hands quickly, but look, you can't play with tempo the whole game. Your defense is going to be gassed, and then how are they going to be dominant? So it's going to be tough to manage.
If you're Tampa, you got to keep this thing close and hope that you can see some Brady magic at the end. All right, coming up, it has